Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Prime Time Newscast in the English language on Canal de International. I'm called Marinti. Our top stories. Police of the 13th police station in Douala have dismantled a network of fake wine dealers. The suspects were arrested after a tip-off yesterday. And the Cameroon Bar Association has strongly recommended the ratification of many laws in Cameroon which have proven to be obsolete, rendering the democratic justice system in the country. And the recent happenings that are ongoing in the restructuring or reorganization of the basic organs of the ruling CPDM party has taken Cameroonians off guard. And the head coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, Antonio Consecao, has published the list of 27 players to take part in the 2 World Cup qualifying matches against Mozambique home and away. The list is a replica of the previous squad except for the coming of Paul Tep. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. Police of the 13th police station in Cameroon's economic city Douala have dismantled a network of fake wine dealers. The suspects were arrested after a tip-off, as Gladys Ambodiba reports.
Le Vigne Bettini is another fake brand of wine that has been uncovered in the market. This is the local factory in which it is produced. It is situated in Dockham, in the Douala 3 subdivision, where the police intercepted the suspected dealers after a tip-off.
Il s'agit d'une usine, comme vous voyez, de fabrication de vin rouge.
It is a factory that produces fake wines. We had information that there were doubtful activities taking place in this compound. We had to set up a surveillance team that found out that it was a well-organized structure with a lady living opposite, hired to monitor any suspected entries.
Nous avons compris que c'était très bien structuré.
The lady, allegedly hired for monitoring, has denied the claims, saying she is a cleaner at the factory and is ignorant of the fraudulent activities. I have been working here for the past 1 month. I was called up by one of the workers and he gave me my work schedule. I was about to leave when the police intercepted me. I live opposite this house and work to feed my 4 children. The consignment of fake wines was about being transported for supplies when the police, who had been tracking movements in and out of the area, arrived at the scene and arrested the taxi driver and the alleged cleaner, who are now their prime suspects. The main dealer was not on site at the moment of the arrest, but police say he has been contacted and he has agreed to meet them for investigation.
A good regulatory text exposes what is needed to free Cameroon, just like many other African countries, from the illicit circulation of fake medications and pharmaceutical products. The focus of a regional workshop that is ongoing in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, focuses on quality and how to address counterfeit products in Africa. The details with Beatrice Nkamo.
Roads, streets and neighborhoods, sellers of drugs and other pharmaceutical products, commonplace, and that business is flourishing at an alarming rate.
Regulatorily, when you tolerate the illicit traffic of medicine, you expose your population to fake medicines.
Tempt fake because
sometimes there is no real documentation according to their manufacturing, according to controls that have to be done. nothing regarding even quality control. It's just medicines because people are looking at boxes of tablets.
Blames first on the lack of a regulatory text of the sector, proper coordinated actions, cheap price, and the rush for money by the operators, even at the detriment of the lives of the population.
More than 100,000 people in Africa alone die every year only by the use of fake medicines. So it gives you the scale of the problem.
The objective of the regional workshop on the problems of quality, inferiority, counterfeit and falsified drugs in Africa.
Call on them to go to centers to buy the drugs there, to go in the pharmacy, see in the town, not in the market, not in the street.
A national committee to fight against this illicit circulation of fake drugs is in place. The obstacle is funding. Other solutions include
need to use the indicators of closing drug outlets. I think if we are able to move to that level, we will solve the problem. Ghana have done it.
Respect of intellectual property in its broad sense is a critical part of the fight against fake medicines and pharmaceuticals.
3 days for a good reflection and way out this disturbing phenomenon eating deep in the African continent.
The Cameroon Bar Association has strongly recommended the ratification of so many laws in Cameroon which have proven to be obsolete, hindering the democratic justice system in the country. Following the Palajipal CBA program launched earlier this year to establish some of the constraints within the justice domain that can be ameliorated, the lawmen say most of the lawmakers in Cameroon have little or no knowledge about law enactments. As we get the following story with Heinz Chia.
It has been 7 months of intensive fieldwork for the Commission on Human Rights and Freedoms of the Cameroon Bar Association seeking for the ratification of some obsolete laws. The drive through the Palajipal CBA project, highly sponsored by the U.S. Embassy, aimed at promoting a better justice system in Cameroon, today reveals a number of stumbling blocks hindering the initiative.
Some of them are still reticent. It is not only about voting laws, but implementing them, and also voting laws on all the domains. Then some of the laws are voted, but not implemented.
Though in 7 months, the Palajipal CBA initiative has succeeded in training 130 elected officials, 50 lawyers and magistrates, and 30 journalists on the techniques of conceptions, analysis, reasoning and discussions of law. Their findings equally reveal that some domains of law in Cameroon still appear so problematic.
Many things have gone wrong with the organic law of 1990 binding the lawyers. It has to be modified too.
The trainers equally decry the feet-dragging attitude of some lawmakers to better their knowledge of enacting laws.
Most of the lawmakers did not want to attend. As of this moment, it's a pinch in the shoe of these lawmakers. But as the project continues, which I think it will crave more indulgences, bring more awareness, and then I think in the future they will embrace it.
The teams of the project equally recommend the modification or amendments of the constraints in the criminal and civil matters, as well as international conventions that hinder democracy within the justice system. Some of such ambiguous laws being the Land Tenure Law of 1974, the December 1990 Law on the Organization of Legal Professions, the Convention on the Rights of Persons Living with Disabilities, not ratified since 2006.
The Cameroonian Women's Platform for National Dialogue has called on women not to relent their efforts in the fight against gender-based violence. We're speaking during one of the meetings here in Cameroon's economic city, Douala. Gladys Ambodibang has the rest of that story.
Violence against women and girls in Cameroon is a preoccupying reality, and the situation gets worse by the day in spite of actions put in place to eradicate the phenomenon. Reason why the Cameroon Women Platform for National Dialogue is meeting in Douala, Cameroon's economic city, to evaluate their activities.
To reflect as a platform, to see how best we can coordinate our action for more efficiency. We have been able to carry out a number of activities, including submitting a memorandum to the National Dialogue Table. We have been able to have some advocacy activities, including training of women parliamentarians. We have been able to give some support to women victims in the communities.
The women feel that it is not enough because the violence, be it physical or psychological, keeps increasing, citing Mirabel Lingom and Comfort Tamasang, who have been victims of gender-based violence on social media and the war in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon, respectively.
That's why we are coming together today to reflect, to think how best we can re-strategize in order to be more efficient. What can we do differently so that we are able to convince our authorities that there is a need for us to make this war end? No. So that's why we are here today, to really make sure that women's voices are heard. Women's role in peace building is so important because of the triple role they have in the community role, the reproductive role, and with this role they are able to impact as far as peace building is concerned.
With barriers to women's participation in peace processes, the Cameroonian Women Platform for National Dialogue has urged women not to relent efforts until the violence against women and girls stops.
A public prosecutor in Yaoundé has instructed that the corpse of 24-year-old Hile Ayisi Menge remains at the mortuary of the Yaoundé Central Hospital until investigations is over. This follows accusations by family of the deceased that body parts of the son has been trafficked. Beatrice Ngamo reports.
The row, a big one, as the family of 24-year-old Hile Ayisi Menge stormed the office of the Director General of the Yaoundé Central Hospital, asking for answers. Indignant that the body parts of their late son are missing. His open stomach is without organs. That is purely from what they saw, attest the brother, and not from any medical report. At that level, we tear the tissue, undress the corpse, and notice there were missing parts, as the body has been opened at the left and right sides, whereas he was stabbed on his left lumbar fossa, filled with tissues coming from all sides. It's evident. Hospital director in a communique Friday gave the genesis of the situation, that the said patient was brought to the hospital days after being stabbed at the lower left side of the stomach. He was given simple first aid. Days later, despite the risk explained and need for surgical intervention, the family took patient home, though the younger brother says they were discharged. 4 days later, he was brought back in the hospital. Laparotomy was done after abundant cleaning, the large intestine placed on the skin as root for physics. And it was on the surgical table that the patient died. Till then, no major issue on both sides. But the family became worried, the brother adds, when they had no access to the corpse while at the mortuary and dressing during coffining. The families cried for justice, but forced the state attorney to order the corpse remain in mortuary until investigation is over on the matter. Hile was sent back into his cold room at the mortuary of the Yaoundé Central Hospital. As the hospital director requests family misinterpretation of medical writings, the family is still very adamant and remain convinced their son is without his internal organs.
The recent happenings that are going on within the organization of the basic organs of the ruling CPDM party has left Cameroonians off guard. In the following commentary report, Kejan Henry Atembe says intra-party democracy has proven that the cracks in CPDM might lead to the crumbling of the house in case the party heads should step aside. His story.
Mr. President, it is a great pleasure and a great honor for me to deliver the statement of His Excellency Paul Biya, President of the Republic of Cameroon, who has instructed me to deliver the statement on his behalf to this 76th session of the General Assembly of the United Nations. And the content of the statement is as follows. It is with conviction that I am taking the floor on Cameroon's behalf in this general debate on the theme, Building Resilience Through Hope to recover from COVID-19, rebuild sustainably, respond to the needs of the planet, respect the rights of people, and revitalize the United Nations. Mr. President, this theme appears very apt at a time when mankind is confronted with the COVID-19 pandemic. Its devastating social and economic consequences are calling into question the progress that has been achieved in poverty reduction and jeopardizing the achievement of our 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Humanity is currently plagued by the following scourges: climate change, multiple conflicts around the world, growing terrorism, cybercrime, sea and ocean pollution, non-peaceful uses of space, including outer space, social media abuse, degradation of forest ecosystems, biodiversity damage, maritime piracy, and the tragic plight of migrants, among others.
External Relations, delivering a speech on behalf of President Paul Biya at the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Now we come back to this report where Kejan Henry Atembe tells us that intra-party democracy has proven that cracks within the CPDM party might lead to the crumbling of the house in case the party's head steps aside. His story.
The participation in the reorganization process of basic organs of the CPDM party is a litmus test of what intra-party strife can cause to the democratic spirit of a country. What happened in Bengbis, Yambeta, Bangante and many other parts of the country during the reorganization of the party organs is revealing of how party elites are flaming the fagots of discord and political cleavage. Critics hold that the image displayed by some party scribes of the CPDM only comes to portray what the CPDM will look like if the head of the party should step aside. Intra-party conflict noticed this far is a true demonstration of how the word democracy is just so easy to pronounce but difficult to practice. Democracy has led to arson, where a government building was burnt down to ashes, where militants are reported to have removed their pistols and threatened to pull the trigger to gun down a fellow citizen if he or she does not become the leader of the party's section. In blatant violation of party text, some elites have manifested an incredible degree of malice, where such malicious intentions have created a political cleavage with the shackles of the party threatened with cracks that might lead to the collapse of the building.
The Indian Honorary Consul to Douala, Cameroon, has endowed the prestigious Pravasi Bharatiya Samari Awards, the 2021 prestigious award for this achievement abroad and at home. The special prize was handed the Indian diplomat during the dinner offered in his honor last September 22 in Yaoundé. The details in the following story will be Beatrice Ngamu.
The Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award is the most prestigious offered by the President of India to his compatriots, recognizing their exceptional services abroad and at home. Early this year, precisely on the 9th of January, via video conference, the President of India, Ramnath Kovind, awarded the prize. September the 22nd, 2021, the prestigious decorations, comprising a gold medal and certificate, were handed the India Honorary Consul to Douala by the High Commissioner of India to Cameroon in the presence of Cameroonian authorities, friends and guests. Merit for over 30 years of services in the reinforcement of cooperation between Cameroon and India, and for India. Contributions rife in the agricultural, energy resources, human resources development, and health services, alongside sports, especially Gulf sectors.
I would say I am fortunate to live and build relations in a country called Cameroon, which I believe is one of the most best countries on earth.
Besides, Janakiraman Ravikuma was also made the Honorable Citizen of Canton Bell by His Majesty of the Canton.
I accept this honor with a lot of humility. Merci beaucoup, Nasom Jita.
Perfect illustration of his close ardor for over 30 decades, evident during the dinner offered in his honor. Worth recalling that Janakiraman Ravikuma has also received distinctions from the President of the Republic of Cameroon as Officer of the Order of Valor after the Knights of the Order of Valor in 2013. Janakiraman Ravikuma continues with more spiritedness his stay, activities, and business as India Honorary Consul in Douala.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast in the English language and Canada International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly 7:50. This never Senkan with Alain Gislain Kanga. But coming up next is the brief with Leo Peugeot. As for me, I'll be back tomorrow for another edition. Good night.